My wife consulted divorced friend about setting boundaries, so I set the ultimate boundary by divorcing her. It started 3 weeks ago when my wife suddenly became an expert on healthy boundaries after spending hours on the phone with her recently divorced friend. First red flag, intimacy became conditional. We need to talk about boundaries. I think we need to establish rules about when you can initiate physical contact, rules about touching my own wife. Second red flag came when she started questioning every dollar I spent, using buzzwords like mutual respect and transparency. Not because we had money problems, we were doing fine, but the real kicker was emotional labor boundaries. I was no longer allowed to vent about work without first asking permission. Your problem shouldn't become my emotional burden without consent, she announced, clearly reciting a script. That weekend, her laptop was open on the counter. Browser history full of articles about training your husband and how to stop being a doormat in marriage. Then I found it, a saved document titled Boundary Implementation Strategy, a step-by-step guide on gradually gaining control in a relationship with notes in her handwriting. Tried this, he just agreed. Need to be more firm. Ask her about phase 2. Phase 2. When she returned, she announced we needed a serious conversation about our relationship dynamic. She pulled out her phone and read from a prepared list of demands. How long have you been working on this list? I asked calmly. That night, I saw her texting. He's not reacting right. Maybe needs stronger approach. The next week, she presented me with a spreadsheet, color-coded, tracking my daily activities, expenses, and social interactions. This isn't about control, it's about transparency. And you'll be maintaining a similar spreadsheet for yourself? The pause was telling. This is about addressing the imbalance in our relationship. Then came the controlled communication protocol. Conversations became scheduled events with prepared questions. When I didn't give the reactions she expected, her frustration became visible. Her masterstroke was the withdrawal of affection technique. For an entire week, she became a roommate. No warmth, minimal conversation, clearly expecting me to crack. Instead, I thrived. I came home later, cooked my own meals, made my own plans. By Friday, she exploded. Why aren't you fighting for our relationship? I thought you were setting boundaries. I'm respecting them. You're supposed to. She stopped, realizing she was about to admit the manipulation. I'm supposed to what? Your strategy only works if I don't recognize it as a strategy. Her face went white. For 2 weeks, you've been treating our marriage like a behavioral modification experiment. That's when I revealed my own discovery. While she'd been on the phone getting coaching, I'd found her notebook. Pages of detailed observations tracking my responses. Day 12. Tried scheduling intimacy. He refused without arguing. Concerning lack of emotional investment. Day 18. General says documentation important for later. Started taking photos when he looks angry. Photos. She'd been building a case file. The next morning, I found the real evidence. An email draft to a divorce attorney with the subject line, consultation request, emotionally distant husband. The email detailed months of alleged emotional neglect and controlling behavior. Every accusation was her own behavior projected onto me. The financial monitoring she tried became my controlling nature. Her emotional withdrawal became my silent treatment. She was actively manufacturing evidence against me. I forwarded everything to my own email. Then, that evening when she tried another scripted conversation with her phone positioned to record, I smiled and said, "You're recording this, aren't you?" Her face went white. "It's okay. I've been doing some recording of my own." I showed her the photos of her notebook, browser history, and email drafts. You've been taking advice from a twice-divorced woman on how to manipulate and document your husband to build a case for divorce. The silence stretched between us. The only problem with your plan is that I figured it out. And now I have documentation of the real manipulation happening in this house. I made 3 calls. My attorney, the bank to separate finances, and a private investigator. That evening, she came home with her friend. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Please continue. I'd love to hear more about your expertise on marriage. I read her notebook entries aloud. The friend left quickly. I pulled out an envelope. These are divorce papers. I've already filed. But can't we work this out? Work what out? Your plan to falsely accuse me of abuse? You have 24 hours. Sign these papers and we handle this amicably. Or fight it, and every piece of documentation gets presented in court. The next evening, the signed papers were on the counter.